Hey, my eyes are up here. Quit looking at my face down here, okay? The abundance of chins on this side of the screen doesn't need your attention. My eyes are here, my ears are here, and that's what we're going to use to listen to this new edited version of Some Kind of Monster. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Metallica fans, rejoice. We are going to give you what you've been wanting, a Metallica video that's less than 3.5 hours long. Now, I will say we're a little bit bummed that Chris Schoenberg could not join us for this video. However, he's got baby things to do, other things to do, and Chris and I had some time, so we are here to do something that we have been getting a lot of requests to do in the Saint Anger comments. So what we are going to do in this video is very simple. We're just going to listen to the Some Kind of Monster song, the edit version from the Some Kind of Monster movie soundtrack, I believe is what this is from. I think several people mentioned this in the comments, and they said, hey, you guys should listen to this. It was mixed by different people, and I think it was the same files, but it was mixed by different people, and sounds completely different, and everyone said it sounds way better.
Interesting.
So now I will also say, even more comments than we got on that. We've been getting so many comments from people saying you need to watch the DVD that comes with Saint Anger, because it is the entire album performed by the band live in studio. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I, Chris, I sent you guys a link, and we kind of chatted about this after the Saint Anger video came out because someone mentioned this to me. So I went and looked it up on YouTube, and I think I sent you guys a link. And we watched little bits of it, and we commented back and forth saying, I think you said oh, this sounds way better than the album. And I was like, well, it kind of does too.
I think you have dreamed this. This did not happen.
I'm pretty sure it did. I don't want to go through my phone and look because I don't care enough to do that. But but anyway, that we're not doing that in this video. I was just kind of pointing out that we've had a lot of people say to do that as well. So if I can find a way to just get the audio from that, because I still haven't found a good way to do video with a remote person. I suppose we could do it the same way. Just get you the file, or we could both load the same YouTube video or something and just hit play at the same time. I guess there's no reason that wouldn't work.
I mean, I could just load it up, and then we could use Discord. I've got Nitro, so I can stream it full bitrate, and you can just watch it through my stream.
Maybe that's something we could try. Yeah. Maybe we could try that, because I do want to do some Metallica live videos. Yeah. Because a lot of people have been saying, and I've seen pictures of that Moscow show, and I want to see Metallica playing to 1 billion people standing in front of them. Mm-hmm. So I want to do that at some point. But in this video, we're just going to be listening to the one song. We might listen. Maybe we'll A/B it to the version that's on the album. I think that might be a good idea too. Now, I will also say, and I haven't told you this yet, Chris, we got a really nice comment.
Oh.
Maybe I sent it to you yesterday. I can't remember. But we got a comment from someone. Let me look real quick, because I do save a lot of the comments that are if they're nice, I'll save them just because it's nice to have some nice comments. Mm-hmm. But if it's a comment that is really insightful, I'll try to save that too, so that I can bring it up if we're ever at a point in a video where I'm talking about anything particular. So let me just look this up real quick. Okay, I don't think I saved it, but basically what this comment was saying, Chris, was that the way that Saint Anger was recorded, they had stuff set up in the studio, and they basically just went in, and we reread this a little bit, but it didn't say they did this specifically. They went in and they recorded themselves, and when they found ideas that they liked, they just recorded the idea kind of by itself. And then what they did was they went in and they listened to everything they had recorded and stitched songs together with the recordings they had. And that's why Chris and I why we all kept commenting about how everything changed in every section of the song. That there were just riffs that they found that worked with other riffs. And so they just recorded everything kind of separately and smashed it together.
But why?
I don't know, and I have a hard time believing that you could really do that. I definitely know that you could do that.
Yeah.
It would be really hard, but possible. And having someone write that all out the way that they did, and I wish I would have saved it, having someone write that all out the way that they did, I was like, wow, this makes total sense to me. Like, I could see this being the way that the album was recorded, and having that be the reason why Saint Anger sounds so disjointed, even within each song.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a lot about every section of the song sounded like it was mixed completely different. Like the kick drum would just sound vastly different from section of the song to section of the song. And what Chris Schoenberg and I were talking about the whole time was, I can't even imagine the automation on these tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know what we were talking about, automation is when you have your whole song pulled up, like, right, your multi-track session pulled up. And a good way to explain this is to just very simply, like, say you have the vocals during the chorus, and then you want the volume of the vocals to come down in the verse after the chorus, right? So you have the volume of the vocals set at 10, we'll just say an arbitrary number 10 during the chorus, and you want to bring them down to an 8 during the verse. What you can do is you can draw what's called an audio envelope, basically, and you put like a little dot at the beginning of the chorus, end of the chorus, at the beginning of the next verse, end of the next verse, and you can take that section of verse and basically move it down. Now, that's how you would do it on a computer. There's all sorts of different ways, but when we talk about automation, what we're talking about is using the process of adjusting volumes and settings and effects within a song, and actually like adjusting those the settings or the parameters of the specific effects on an individual track. Rather than saying like, okay, I have a track, like the way I would do that if I had enough CPU power would be, right, to have the one track of vocals for the chorus, and then I make a whole separate track and I have the verse vocals on that track, right? That's not automation. Automation would be on one single track, specifically changing the settings so that it sounds different for different parts of the song. That's why we kept saying automation. Mm-hmm. Now, if you did record everything on different days and just have like different sounds, because you and I know, Chris, if I leave this microphone in this exact spot and we come back tomorrow and record a video with everything set the exact same way, things are going to sound different because that's just the way life is. Literally, the density in the air can change the way a microphone responds to a source. So the idea of having them just record sort of like whatever they wanted to or felt like recording that day, and then having this giant, massive, like, you know, however many 40 hours of just them jamming, and then cutting those sections up and putting them together to make songs. That's insane, first of all.
It is.
But also, that could be a reason or a way to explain what happened to make every section of each song sound different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, what we're going to listen to in this video was edited by completely different guys, I believe at a different studio, so they must have had access, obviously, to the raw files.
Yeah, the stems.
So we'll see I'm really curious to see if we notice like changes or if the song is much more consistent throughout the song, because that was my biggest problem with Saint Anger, was the inconsistency with the way everything sounded. So, are you excited to hear this?
I am really excited to hear this. Yeah.
And you've never heard this version of it before?
I've never heard this. I mean, I've seen the movie this is from, but I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And right. I definitely wouldn't have noticed the difference then.
Yeah, for sure. Especially not if you saw it like with video. Yeah, I could totally.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to listen to this?
Let's do it.
Do you think we should listen to a little bit, like the first couple minutes of the original first, or just go?
I do. I think so. I think if we A/B it just a little bit.
Okay, so let's listen to the first. Do you want to say minute or?
Of this or the other of the
original?
Yeah,
first.
let's do that.
Well, let's say 2 minutes because that has a long intro.
True.
So, all right, I'm going to start. This is the original version from the album. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry. The 8-minute and 27-second version.
Mm-hmm.
This is also, I will say, this was mastered for this album. So on this album that I'm talking about, the soundtrack to Some Kind of Monster.
Oh, yeah.
Track 1 is Some Kind of Monster, the 8.5-minute version. Then there's a bunch of live stuff. And then track 8 is Some Kind of Monster, the edited version, which is 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And that's the version everyone has been telling us to listen to.
I'll just use that one then.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got it pulled up?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to listen to the first 2 minutes, and we can talk to each other while it's playing, so we can whatever. Mm-hmm. This is the original version first. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's right. This is the one where you hear the snares rattling, and you're like, where did those snares go?
Yeah, they're not. That's the most snare
That you hear on the whole album.
that you hear in the whole album.
Ah, it's still heavy. I love it.
Yep.
I gotta throw this pen away or I'll just be tempted to play with it the whole time. Whoa. The entry into that solo was terrible.
All crunchy and weird.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like they got a bad cable there.
They use that effect a lot in this album, the bad cable effect.
The ring on that snare in this part is really bad.
It is, yeah. Ring is gone.
Yep. I hope we get some vocals here.
It'll be a little bit. I don't know if we're going to get them in 2 minutes.
Let's just keep listening until we hear some vocals then.
Yeah.
God, these guitar riffs are so cool. All right, is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay, I stopped it.
That's enough, same.
All right, let's go right into the other version, okay?
Yep.
This is Some Kind of Monster edit. That's 4 minutes and 15 seconds long. In 3, 2, 1.
More room.
Yeah, you can definitely hear, yes.
Ooh.
It sounds great, right?
This is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
So much bass.
The kick is amazing.
Yep. Listen to that snare.
It still sounds terrible.
But it's got a screen under it.
Yeah.
These are the eyes that can't see me. These are the hands that drop your trust. These are the boots that kick you around. This is the tongue that speaks on the inside. These are the ears that ring with hate. This is the face that never change. This is the fist that grinds you down. This is the voice of silence no more.
Dude, the guitars sound great. Someone just EQ'd them and made them and compressed them.
Different vocal.
Is it?
Yeah. These are the legs in circles run. This is the beat and you'll never know. These are the lips that taste no freedom. This is the feel that's not so safe. This is the face you'll never change.
If the whole album was mixed like this, oh.
This is the God
Yep.
that is not pure.
Why the hell wasn't it?
Silence no more.
Listen to those drums. Oh.
Some kind of monster. Some kind of monster. Some kind
Delay
of
there.
monster.
Yeah, that delay.
This monster lives.
No ring.
Yep.
This is the face that stones you cold.
This is
the moment
the kick drum is exploding my mind. It sounds so much better and more consistent, and it's got punch to it. It's got weight to
This
it.
is the burden of every man. These are the screams that pierce your skin. This is the voice of silence no more. eyes. These are the looks that chill to the bone. These are the fears that swing overhead. These are the
You can definitely tell that the takes are it's different takes because he's like overlapping his vocals slightly, which I don't think he would do that. Dude, this sounds massive.
It does. It's huge.
Some kind of monster. Some kind of monster. This monster lives.
Taking that ring off that snare in this spot is just so much.
Yeah.
We the people.
Interesting hit it.
Are we the people? Some kind of monster.
It's like he started a little early, and so we had to hold it out more. Some kind.
Some kind of
That delay is cool.
Yeah.
Some kind of monster.
So simple.
This monster lives.
Boy, that is some edit. That is
Wow.
definitely an edit. There's a
Wow.
lot missing, but wow.
Yeah, because isn't that the song where he goes kill, 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 or is that
No, that's the last song.
That's the
on
last
the album.
track
It's a
song.
different one, but
Dude, that was night
still,
and day difference.
huge. What an improvement. Crazy.
I will say I do kind of wish that it was the full 8-minute version. Like,
Yep.
like I do kind of miss all the like them messing around and like going from riff to riff and stuff. Mm-hmm. But just
And what a pleasure it would be to hear them do all of that in this.
to make it
with this
but
mix.
having it sounding good. Yes, I don't know how. I don't know.
I mean, that's
how.
there. Most of that, or at least parts of it, I don't know how much stitching there was involved, but definitely parts of that were a completely different vocal recording take. Period.
Interesting. That's really
Which is
interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, they must have done a different recording of the drums because they've got snare screen in some of it that just did not exist at all in the original version. So I think that there's different recordings involved in that.
It just depends. I mean, someone who was really good could have moved parts around and like. The kick drum is the thing that kills me. And if all they did was like replace the kick with like a because this is 2003, we're talking. Mm-hmm. This easily could have been drum replacement. So if they just like, they kept the kick sound in there that was on the album, but then they just added like a beefy, nice sounding kick and then made the sound of the kick like consistent throughout and then added this other nicer sounding kick with it. That's all it needed. And that made it, but also the guitars were EQ'd way differently. They were less rounded and there was more high end in them and it sounded nice and crispy and crunchy.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
And it was insane how much space there was because the guitars, everything was enormous and nothing was lost. Even the vocals were just, it all sounded like it was at 0 and yet there was no mud. Crazy.
Yeah. This, to me, I would give way more money to have Saint Anger mixed like this than I would to have Justice with bass. Like, because that's the thing that people have been saying, like, or whatever, like this, because I love what Saint Anger was doing. I just hated the way it sounded. But this I could get behind and be like, this sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, maybe good is kind of relative. It definitely sounds better. I don't know if it, like, I do still think the kick left a little bit to be, or the snare left a little bit to be desired. But comparatively to this, and I wasn't like a super snare hater on Saint Anger either. I enjoyed the ring sometimes. So, that's neither here nor there, but like, yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that the whole album there's so many things about Saint Anger that people complain about. Mm-hmm. And I think if the whole album sounded like that, most of them would go away.
I agree. That's what I was going to say. I think I think everyone, even listening, a lot of the comments on our Saint Anger video were like, I actually like Saint Anger. A lot of people were like, it grew on me over time, and I like it for what it is. to me personally, I don't think that would have happened no matter how many times I listened to it, because I never would have been able to get over the production. But like I said now multiple times, I like what they were doing in those songs. So to me, if it was mixed correctly, I would have enjoyed Saint Anger just so much more, and it would have been one of my favorite Metallica albums. Chris Schoenberg even said that. He was he said it and then he backtracked, but he was like, if this sounded good, this would be my favorite Metallica album. He said those words, but then he backtracked from them immediately, because I think then he was thinking about Master and Ride and Justice. He was probably only thinking in his head like Black Album, Load, Reload.
Sure.
Or maybe even Death Magnetic and Saint Anger and Hardwired. But I just think the fact that he even thought that was like, he was really digging the riffs.
I was so surprised at how much he liked this album.
Yeah, me too. And I think it was just because you have low expectations because of how like bad he had known that it was going to sound. But like, to me, when we were listening to it, the original version, it wasn't the snare, it was the inconsistency. I said that multiple times. Yeah. So having a mix like this that was consistent throughout the whole thing, I thought just was great. And maybe it was more consistent because some of those parts were even copied and pasted. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't do that with every song because it just what they would have needed to do that didn't exist. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that the process that they had to go through to make this edited version, sound like it did, was a lot of work. Now, I would think that Metallica, being one of the biggest bands on the whole planet, they could absolutely pay people to do that, right?
Yeah.
And go through the actual process and make the whole album sound that way if they still had access to all the files, which I'm sure they do. But like, is Metallica going to ever admit that they made a mistake with the way it sounded or not? Or the fact that it is so raw and disjointed sounding is what they were going for because that's how they felt as a band at the time. A lot of people said that in our comments as well. So
I just don't think that, I think there's so much that you can do to convey that kind of symbolism, and you would not have to sacrifice the way that it sounds. You don't have to have it be weirdly inconsistent. Like, at the very least, make it consistent. Like, the whole album sounds busted in one very consistent busted way. Like, it's just so strange that it changes every 10 seconds sometimes.
I agree. And again, this version didn't sound like a different song. It just sounded like the correct version of the way that song should have sounded.
Yeah. I'd kill to hear a full version of this.
I would like to hear the whole album that way. Frantic would sound so good.
I already love this album, and that
Shoot Me Again, my favorite song off the album. Bring it to me. I would love that. And I think that was the best mixed song on the album. That was one of the reasons I liked it, because it was more consistent than the rest of the album. And so, dang. All right, well, we can end this here. We've done a lot of Saint Anger stuff, and I think I'll try to get this video out next week, because people are already like, when are we doing Death Magnetic? And I'll say for right now, if I get this video out next week, which will be, I think, the week of like August, I don't know, 13th, 14th, 15th, somewhere around there, we are planning to record Death Magnetic the following week. So not this week, or actually, no, that week would be the week. I want to try to record it next week so that I can get it out either the end of next week or early the week next week. And I will take this opportunity to tell people, even though I don't know if this is the right place to do it, I'll probably do it in a post as well. When we release Death Magnetic, I am going to set it and do it as a premiere so that we can have people watching live, and I'll be there the whole time, or I'll try to be there at least the whole time. So that I can be in the comments and stuff with people as well. Just because when we upload a Metallica video, Chris, we get thousands of views within the first hour. Like we have people saying what a great video before they even would have had time to finish it. Which is,
I swear that some people live in a different, like, there's some kind of different timeline for some people. Like, I'll see a game come out, it's like, oh, the new Red Dead just dropped, and it's somebody the next day is like, that was great, 100%. And it's like, there's not enough time in a day.
Right. I think in this case, a lot of people watch YouTube videos on like 2x speed or whatever. So I could see someone watching one of our videos in like an hour and 45 minutes instead of 3.5 hours if they have it on 2x speed.
That's a good point.
So I could see that. But anyway, so I'm going to try to do a premiere. So I'll let you know for sure, Chris, when I do that, if you want to try to do it. I know both you and Chris Schoenberg have avoided being in the comments ever because you just don't want to.
The thing is that I don't get alerted about the comments the way that you do.
Yeah.
if I did, I would probably go to them more because I
Yeah.
do like I've got some random videos here and there that have just get comments for whatever reason, and I'll always go respond to them. I just don't think about it because they don't come into my my notifications. And stuff.
But maybe if we did a premiere, and you had time when it was premiering, we could try to do some things, because I think that would be fun. If for no other reason than to just let other people talk within the comments, you know. So I want to plan on doing that. All right, but we'll get to that stuff. Who knows when? Timeline is meaningless at this point because we're recording this who knows when. But we'll get this out soon because I want to do this before we do Death Magnetic while we're still in Saint Anger mode. So
I'm really looking forward to doing Death Magnetic.
Me too.
For a lot of
It's the one I've been saying I've been looking forward to the most this whole time. I was looking forward to the reaction of Saint Anger the most because I knew it was going to be crazy. But the album I've been looking forward to the most is when modern Metallica is forced to try to be old Metallica, and I just cannot wait to see what the hell that sounds like.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
All right, well, with that in mind, we'll see you guys all next time. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Yep, I don't do coke. Bye.
Don't stop recording.
Okay.
Because this is the video people are going to see us probably with our mustaches first.
All right.
So I want to do like a little thing about that real quick. This can be the intro. So I'll do an intro and then I'll play a little bit of the song we just did like I would at a normal Metallica video. And then we'll go into what we did. Okay, so hold on one second.